We do what we can for who we can. But to do nothing and say it's not my business, that is where you've lost your humanity.
You know what I love most about this podcast is sitting down with people who you believe to be these amazing humans prior to your conversation, and then leaving the conversation recognizing that they're even more amazing than you could have imagined. This week, I sat down with Maysoon Zayid, who is a comedian, actress, writer, and disability advocate. She's a graduate of Arizona State University and a Princeton fellow. She's the co-founder, co-executive producer of the New York Arab American Comedy Festival and the Muslim Funny Fest. She's appeared alongside Adam Sandler in You Don't Mess with the Zohan and is a recurring character on General Hospital. She is the author of the best-selling memoir, Find Another Dream, and she recently just put out her first graphic novel, Shiny Misfits. This book is incredible, and we discuss all of the different ways in which Shiny Misfits really centers us in our humanity. Please take a listen to this incredible conversation and support Maysoon's work at maysoon.com.
I always joke that in the Oppression Olympics, I would win a gold medal because I'm Palestinian, I'm Muslim, I'm a woman of color, I'm divorced, I'm disabled, and I'm from New Jersey. And the first word of that description was I'm Palestinian. So answering any questions right now as I'm doing good doesn't seem honest, but I'm doing alive. I'm trying the best I can. I'm exuding light and hoping that it expunges some darkness. And I am now talking to you at Kind Cotton.
Yeah, something I've been talking to a lot of people about lately is just right now the only thing, there's a lot of things we can do, right? But the only thing we could do kind of for our personal wellness is being in community with people, right? So I'm just really happy to be here with you today. And you brought up and I think this is an important thing to talk about, right? The fact that you are a Palestinian American. I was just reading all about the action steps that you've been taking, what you have been educating people on for quite some time now. And I kind of want to know, what can the average American be doing right now? How can we be supporting? Aside from the obvious, right? I'm calling my reps every day saying, hey, can we please have a ceasefire now?
Obvious for anyone. I don't think there's an obvious. And I think what the average American should do is what they can do. Okay. I can't march and protest because I have cerebral palsy. Other people with cerebral palsy are like total warriors and they'll march and they'll get pushed. I can't do it. Like, my face is pretty. I just don't want to do it. But I physically go and I visit Palestine, meet with wounded children. I do what I can do. If what you can do is call your reps, call your reps. If what you can do is sit in community and conversation with someone who has been convinced that harming children, murdering children, shooting children, doing any harm to children makes us all safer, which is a conversation that we have in the United States when we talk about guns and school shootings. And it's a conversation we're having now when we're excusing the mass murder of children as being something that makes us safe. So I think sometimes you have to sit down and talk to people who don't think they are involved in this and explain to them why they are involved in this, why this is important. And then you have to give grace to people who don't have time for anything but what I just said, staying alive. So if you're the mom that has 5 kids, 2 jobs, and you have no idea how you're going to stop from being unhoused tomorrow, we're in the same fight. We're in the same fight for equality, justice, for access to health care. for access to dignity, for access to food. So I also understand when people don't have the bandwidth, but I don't understand, someone like Taylor Swift being like, no, I'm not going to say anything. It's just too complicated. My statements are never, this kid shouldn't die, that kid shouldn't die. It's kids shouldn't die. And I'm going to take it one step further. Men shouldn't be killed either.
Right.
Have this disposable vision of men when we say this many women and children. And I'm like, my dad, who was the muse for the father in my upcoming graphic novel, Shining Misfits, was a Palestinian Muslim man. And when
Mm-hmm.
about Palestinian Muslim men, they're not counted. They're not humanized. I say, like, it's the Hunger Games, and none of those guys volunteered as tribute. Like, why are we willing to sacrifice these people? And so you do what you can do, and you keep checking on your own humanity. Keep checking your own humanity. The other day, one of my friend's moms died, and she was in her 90s. And I couldn't garner sympathy because I was like, dude, she was 90. She died peacefully in her sleep. Look at what's happening to these children. And then I was like, no, Dad, this is real. My friend hung out with her mom for 50 years. This is
Yeah.
no pain that she doesn't know how to function without her. So, like, also not losing your humanity in the darkest moments. Comedian. Can everyone listening tell I'm a comedian? I'm so
I mean, we hit the ground running, right? We
no
really.
cerebral palsy. It's like more of a gazelle with a broken leg type of prance limp thing that I do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Kaitlin, as you said that, wow, your ableism shined through in that moment, didn't it? Because it is, right? But yeah, I mean, I think that's the important piece of it is that a lot of us are losing our humanity, right? Even interestingly, in what many people are thinking their minds is this fight for humanity. We're losing it along the way too. So, and I love that you mentioned the important aspect, and I always try to make it clear that well-resourced people need to be in all of these fights, right? If you are a resourced person, you need to be doing what you can be doing. So I'm happy you put it that way.
Me, Yusuf, who I love and consider like my little baby brother in Arab comedy, went on to SNL and made a very, very sharp, direct statement about Palestine, about no more death, about equality and justice for all, and had so much to lose in that moment.
Mhm.
Watch him be brave. I then look at people like DJ Khaled. I'm like, just where are you? You have
Yeah.
to be brave, be brave. But that's what I meant by if you don't have the ability, you don't have the ability. And maybe the only thing that you can do is share that Instagram story. And I dislike when people say social media activism is not your keyboard warrior. No, a lot of my friends are nonverbal. They're wheelchair users. None of these spaces are accessible to them. A lot of my friends are Palestinian. They're tired. They're burned out. They don't want to leave the house right now. And like whatever it is that you can do is what you do. And like that,
Mhm.
the airplane analogy, which is when you board a plane, they give you a safety demonstration that nobody watches anymore because they're on their devices. But the demonstration says if something bad happens, you must first put your oxygen on and then put it on your cat, then put it on your child, then put it on whoever needs help. So we do have to continue to say to ourselves, I have to stay healthy, functional, alive, and as unbroken as I can, because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to resist what seems too big.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm also happy that you brought up the social media aspect because I think prior to October 7th, we did live in a world where it was like social media is performative. You know, you posted a black square on Blackout Tuesday, and what have you done since, right? But in this particular case, like you said, there are multiple people that this is their form of activism. And also, there may be another white woman out there, and I speak to that as being a white cis woman, right? Who sees a post of mine who goes, oh, like maybe I'm gonna call today, or maybe this is gonna be the time that I reshare something, or that I follow Palestinian voices, or I make that leap to doing something about this, right?
Perfect, I think, entryway to Shining Misfits.
Mm.
Misfits, the book that we're talking about today, is my first graphic novel. The target audience is like 7 to 12-year-olds, but I wrote it for like 5 to 105. Well,
Yeah.
live. I'm not gonna rip the book out of your hands if you're 106. But my entryway into this book was two aspects of exactly what you said. One, I removed all borders. There are no borders in this book. This is my dream world,
Mm.
character Bay Ann's real world, because she straddles the dream world and the real world in her book too. But her real world is my dream world. There are no borders. But when I was creating that book, the assumption was if you removed borders and you created equality, you would then remove differences, such as skin tone. And
Mm.
we kept, and by we I mean me, and I don't know why I'm saying we, but the we is me and my illustrator Shadia Amin, who worked, hand in shaking hand with me to bring this vision to life. When I did the audiobook of Shining Misfits, we were like, how do you describe skin tone without tying it to borders? What do we normally say? African American, Latino, South Asian, Pacific Islander, white girl. You're the only person that gets to be like a shade, and all the rest of us are connected to
Mm.
there is black of course, but they tried, to connect it also. We went back to what the First Nations and the native and indigenous populations did before there were borders. They used elements to describe. So the
Mm.
tones of the characters, like mine is rose gold, you would be opal. We have people who are mahogany and baked clay, and we went back to these really like basic ways of communicating as equals to remove the borders. The second thing I was really aware of was I absolutely hate the way disabled characters, whether visible or invisible, whether neurological or mobility, the way that we are shown in media, not just children's media, all media. I say we fall into three categories: heal me, you can't love me because I'm disabled, or kill me. There's literally a genre of like, Academy Award winning movies where people's lives get better because the disabled person dies. $1 million. Maybe you before me, whatever it is. And I wanted a disabled character who was just a kid.
Mm.
And some of you're not supposed to read your reviews. I'm a comedian. I always read the reviews. It's comedy gold. It's fodder for my stand up. I'm reading it if you're writing it. You
Yeah.
mind when you're on social media being mean. But like the majority of people just love the book. They think it's funny. They're like, I see myself in this character or that character. And then there's parents, and parents should buy this book just to be mad. And so many parents, not so many, a select few parents that have reviewed the book absolutely hate the main character. And they write things like, I don't like her even though she's disabled. And I think it's so telling that you think every disabled person should be likable, happy snowflake angel babies. That like
Mm.
be an annoying tween. We don't get to be the spoiled only child of divorced parents, as my main character is. We don't get to be a kid obsessed with becoming viral and becoming a real, like, mean girl to her best friend because strangers mean more to. She's meant to be unlikable. because we all are unlikable. I have times I'm unlikable. You have times that you're unlikable. If you're likable all the time, you're not being real.
Mm, how true is that? Also, I feel like with those reviews, there's almost a sense of like pity underlying, right? And I don't think the just say that again, Maysoon.
100%. They're like, I'm supposed to feel bad for this character. This character
Yeah.
is disabled. I'm supposed to look at them and go, I feel better about myself. And
Mm,
you, and I hope Santa gives you everything you ever dreamt of. And you look at this character and you're like, that little Scooch, where are her parents? Why is this Scooch behaving this way? And oh my gosh, I hope Scooch is not derived from anything racial or horrible. I It was just something my parents used to call me, so I hope it's
I've
not
never heard it. Do you know I've never heard that?
annoying. You're a Scooch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but like I said, it's the way that we look at these disabled characters. How many disabled characters are written by authentically disabled people? Not the majority, not even kind of a majority. It's usually someone who's disabled adjacent, parent,
Yep.
sibling, child. You know what I mean? And so I came in and I was like, I'm going to write the book that, as a comic book lover, I wanted. And this character is going to be disabled and have a diverse community because I'm disabled and I have a diverse community. Not because I'm trying to get like a golden DEI ticket. You know, I would
Hmm.
take it. Willy Wonka would like to give me a golden ticket. I'll take a golden ticket. But the whole point being that that's not, yeah, that's not why I'm doing it. And I think, yeah, that it was really fun writing a disabled character who had friends not because they were told to be her friend or they were going to get like a Game Boy, but because like you either want to be Bayan's best friend or you're terrified of her. She's
Yeah.
a little bit Regina George. Like she's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
George, and she gets knocked down to earth just like Regina George gets hit by a bus. You know what I
Mhm. I think that's so awesome. And you brought up such a good point about, I mean, that's what we do, right? Like we provide books to kids. And I try really, really hard if I am providing a book about Black excellence. I want that book to be written by a Black author because many times it is not. If I am providing a book with a disabled main character, one of my close friends wrote this beautiful book, Recess Magic, from her point of view, similar to you. Like she wanted a book that she needed when she was a child. Um, with the main character being in a wheelchair and also not being taken for granted or not being looked down upon and just having friends because they valued who they were as a person. And it's hard to do that. Like you mentioned, it is not often that you can find books in these various categories, a book with LGBTQ representation that's written by an LGBTQ author. It's
and
actually really hard.
each book can't be everything, right? So
Hmm.
book about um a book about a character with cerebral palsy that's extraordinarily confident and dances is not the same as a book about a character with cerebral palsy who is extraordinarily confident and nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
While I try to represent diversity within the disco, I call the disability community the disco. Those are like kind of the initials, like DISCO,
Hmm.
and we're the party. But like the diversity in the disco is so immense that if you take someone who's autistic, actually autistic, you're going to get like innumerable variations. Same thing with cerebral palsy, same thing with neurodivergence, same thing with an amputee. Some amputees
Hmm.
can become, runners, and other amputees are wheelchair users their entire lives. Some people are confident and brilliant with their disability. Some people never come to terms with it. And that I can't represent every disabled child. I can't
Hmm.
every Muslim woman. I can be funny. I
Hmm.
excessively funny. So when people are like, is this a book for disabled kids or normal kids? I go, do you hear yourself?
Right.
Just just wondering if you heard yourself. And then the answer to that question, which should be framed if you must ask a silly question like that, is it for disabled kids or non-disabled kids? It's for everyone.
Yeah.
Stop writing to niches
Mm-hmm.
and write what's good. And the audience
Mm-hmm.
come to it. Shiny Misfits, if you love comic books and you've never given a hoot about politics or Muslims or anything, you're going to love this book. If you like comedy, you're going to love this book. If you like a angsty like crush, you're going to love this book. If you happen to love Dave Matthews, the singer, he's voicing Lucy the cat, and you're going to love this book. If you're LGBTQ, you're going to look and you're going to say, hey, that character is me. And if you're disabled, you're going to be like, hey, that character is me. And if you don't see yourself in the book, it's called Shiny Misfits. A misfit
Mm-hmm.
stands out instead of fits in. If you can't find yourself in the book, that means that you're so dope. I didn't even write a character like you, and you get to write your own story. And also, I always say this, I will not be everyone's cup of tea. Like,
Mm-hmm.
buy the book, read it, and then decide if you dislike me or not so that I can buy cat treats.
Wish I had more. I wish I had more of your confidence or just when it comes to people not liking you, right? I mean, we're slowly breaking that cycle. It's been years and years and years of trying to do so. But
How attached I is quickly to this book. My confidence comes from the fact that I grew up without social media.
mm,
I was born with cerebral palsy that, in my case, manifests itself through spasticity. I shake all the time. I shake it like Taylor Swift. And my parents couldn't afford physical therapy. They sent me to tap dancing class. We had annual recitals and I had solos because my parents sent me a solo class so that they could work with me and really just do exercise with me. So I had these solos, right? So I kept getting standing ovations from the age of 5. I was always getting standing ovations. It culminated in my senior year of high school. I danced on point to Wind Beneath My Wings from Bette Midler, and I had no idea I was the inspirational disabled chick. So when I got a standing ovation and everyone was crying and tearing the roof off the auditorium, I thought it was because I was extraordinarily talented.
mm,
Gave me the confidence to, to go to Arizona State to study theater, to a couple of years later step on the stage as a comedian because I always got applause. People always loved me, and I didn't know it was charity. I didn't know it was sympathy. And honestly, to this day, I don't know. I might have been really good, but if social media existed and I had been reduced to this inspirational character whose
mhm,
was making non-disabled people feel better about themselves, I don't think I would be where I am today, tap dancing on Broadway, publishing shiny, Misfits, or being on the daytime soap opera General Hospital, which was my dream when I was like 5.
mhm. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, that's really cool that you made that happen. I mean, that's an inspiration for anyone listening, right? Like you put it out into the world and it happens, which is really amazing. So
You
kudos to
out in
you.
the world, you work really hard, you
Mhm,
million times. You find very few people to lend you a hand and get you back on your feet and dust you up, but you will never, ever, ever, ever forget them. And that's another big part of Shiny Misfits. She
mhm.
all the time. She
Yeah,
fails and fails, and it's frustrating. And you're like, that's life, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
like you don't always win.
And I think that's such an important thing for kids to hear, right? Particularly like being a parent right now. It's an interesting time because I think we've been so fed to take away our kids' pain or take away the discomfort of failing. I was also an educator for many years, and the amount of parents that just made everything easy for their children creates a huge issue as these children grow. So I think it's great to have books that represent this failure, right? That teach children the actual ways of the world, and to say it's okay to fail.
Could I show you my book?
Yes, show it, show it, show it.
Ah.
Yes, it's so fabulous, everyone. Please, 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 when you're listening to this, this is actually, we're recording it while pre-orders are still being taken. But by the time this gets released, there is Bayanne.
And that's Lucy the cat.
So, oh my goodness, it looks just like your cat.
I know, that's why I showed you my cat earlier.
I love it.
My cat's name is Beyonce, but there was a trademark issue. So I named her after Lucy, which was my 20-year-old cat who ran across the Rainbow Bridge a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was named after Lucy Van Pelt from Charlie Brown. So there's some sort of like kindred spirit with Lucy Van Pelt, I think.
I love that.
Then obviously voiced by Dave Matthews, because who else would be voicing a talking cat other than, Dave Matthews?
How cool is that? Like when I heard that, I was like, wow, we need to talk about, first of all, where can people purchase the book? Where can people get the audio version? Because now I'm very interested in wanting to listen to it as well.
Best thing to do is to get the book and look at the book as we read it to you. So
Mm-hmm.
Peter is a really good friend of mine, Vanessa Marcel. She was on General Hospital. She was on 90210. She starred in Las Vegas with Josh Jamal. And then I'm voicing the central character, Bayan. I made it so easy for everyone. You just go to shinymisfits.com. I bought the title of the book before I named the book. I was like figuring out titles, and I was like, what is these to Google? And it was, Shiny Misfits. If you go to shinymisfits.com, you get to pre-order from anywhere, your local bookstore. Actually, now you get to buy the book. You can find your local bookstores carrying it, or you can demand they carry it. You can order from Amazon if you're listening globally, and that's the way that you get it. And on the shinymisfits.com website, we have the audio version, we have the print version, we have merch. You can get some like Shiny Misfits leggings and t-shirts. And we have a quiz where you can find out which misfit you're most like.
Okay, I'm all in on that. That is, there's something.
Dan, are you a Davy Matt? What are you?
Yes, I love that. I don't know. There's just something about being able to take a quiz to find out who you are that is it speaks to like my sentimental childhood soul. So I love that you have that. That's amazing. Yeah, everyone, please, please, please go order. Kind Cotton is absolutely going to be ordering these in bulk, because when I tell you, Maysoon, when I do our free book fairs and we go to schools, we do one once a month, hands down, every single child from K to 5, because we do them in elementary schools, is like, where are the graphic novels? Where are the graphic novels? Where are the comics?
I have to show you, because my illustrator, Shadia Amin, and we're women in a really men-dominated genre who work together. But the way that this woman draws is just,
fabulous.
Pretty. Look at this dream room I created.
It's amazing. And I'm telling you, kids, I mean, they already are because you've gotten the pre-orders, but kids are going to be obsessed.
Elastic is so dope. They're really cool. They're an old book company, and they know stuff. They dropped some books in random book fairs like ahead of time.
Oh.
It was like my kid's friend Hazel came home and she was like, "Hey mom, Maysoon's book's in the book fair," and the mom was like, no, it's not." And then there it was, because they did this really cool thing where they were just like, let's just Just sprinkle it out in the universe, like, and see what people think. So it's in some kids' hands, and I can't wait for it to be in everyone's hands or ears. And it's so, so important what Kind Cotton is doing. A very central theme to all of the Shiny Misfits series is poverty, is the
Yeah.
reality of children not having, of
Yeah.
really not having. And I love the idea of getting this book to kids who can't buy a graphic novel because
Hmm.
scared about the number of libraries that are closing. Like, we just had this shocking thing where the New York Public Library is now closing on Sundays. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh no. And like, when a library has only one copy of the book, maybe that like tween is going to graduate college before they get a copy. So
Hmm.
Kind Cotton is going out there, and let me also know how I can support and amplify you so that we can get more books, Shiny Misfits and other books, into kids'
Thank
hands.
you. Yeah, thank you. I can't even tell you how much that means. We're coming up on our April book fair, and I like try to be very open and transparent about this, which it was odd to do at first because I think it's been ingrained in us to just always be like, yeah, we're okay. Like things are good over here. And it was the first time where I didn't think I was going to be able to order enough books to
Mm.
host our free book fair. So I just want to, extend a personal thank you that means a lot to connect with people who want to amplify the message of what we're doing.
I think this is a really good way to bookend, every pun intended, our conversation.
Yeah.
Do what you can do.
Yeah.
Some people cannot donate to support feeding children in Gaza.
Hmm.
Don't find cotton and feed the mind of a local child. Give them that gift. Give
Hmm.
them that escape from the noise or stress that's surrounding them. We do what we can for who we can. But to do nothing and say it's not my business, that is where you've lost your humanity.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that is the perfect wrap up, Maysoon. I always ask people, what does true kindness mean to you? And I think you just answered it.
No.
Tell me.
My definition of true kindness, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Is cats.
Love it. We may disagree on that though, Maysoon, because mine is probably dogs.
There's an entire chapter in Shiny Misfits where Bayan and her crush, unrequited crush, debate, are cats superior to dogs.
Here we
So
go.
I'm gonna really be invested in that argument. And
Yeah.
I'll not tell you which animal wins.
I mean, I think I know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. Okay.
I think you do, and I think that's the other thing about Shiny Misfits. It's a comic book. It's suspenseful. There's twists and turns. There's things you never imagined happening, and you're like, oh.
I
So
can't wait. I'm so excited. Everyone run, get this book, support Maysoon's work.
wheel, or you can just do it virtually if you can't run.
Yeah. Yes. Do that. You're every time. Here I am.
Because people are always telling me to run, and I'm like, are you paying attention? I'm barely wobbling.
I
Like,
mean, yeah. Well, wobble and get the book, wheel and get the book. Just hop on the internet and get the book. Do anything that you can do to grab this book.
.com.
Yes. Thank you, Maysoon, for being here. Thank you for all that you were doing, not only in the comedy world, because I think that is a safe space for so many people right now, but thank you for putting this book out into the world. Thank you for using your voice, your platform, for advocating for humanity. I'm grateful to have even been in this space with you for the past 45 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Kindness Is podcast. If you love it and it's adding even a little bit of value to your life, we would love if you could subscribe, rate, and review so we can reach even more people and make this world a little bit more kind.